Okay, so once again, we're going to go to the book of Leviticus, chapter 22, which is in the Tanakh or the Torah, the first 5 books of the Bible, just in case for those who's unaware or unfamiliar. All right, so let me type this in right here. Leviticus 22. All right, here we go. And we're going to jump down to verse 17. Now, this right here is concerning the vows that you give to the Most High, which is your promises and your sacrifices, all right? Concerning your lamb or your bullock or your goat or your beeves, whatever you have, which is a clean animal that you're supposed to sacrifice up to the Most High, right? So this is concerning, the blemishes or without blemish of the first year or older. This is what this is going to be about in relating to Christ, right? So, I say that to say this, this isn't to be comical or funny or anything, but, this is into relation of the sacrifice given to the Most High, right? Because, unfortunately, a lot of our people, they think, this because Christ was sacrificed on the cross and he's the ultimate lamb of the Most High. That doesn't mean that he was the Passover lamb, right? Without blemish. Now, with this right here, the Most High, he's speaking about physical blemish. He's not speaking of spiritual blemish. Okay. Now, this is where our people get it confused with when they say Christ is the Passover lamb, because concerning Christ, he had a few blemishes on his body when he was led out to Golgotha to get crucified on the cross, right? So, as it reads here, we're going to start at verse 17, and it reads, "And he exists, spake unto Moshe, saying," verse 18, "Speak unto Aaron and to his sons and unto all the children of Yasharal," which is Israel, right? He didn't say the whole entire world or all people in the world, right? "And say unto them," all right, which is the so-called Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, and Seminole Indians of Negroid descent, right? "Whatsoever he be of the house of Israel, or of the strangers in Israel," right? Now, this is speaking about the people of Israel, but they became strangers because they became spiritual adulterers, idolaters, right? They joined themselves to ancient Egypt. They was worshiping Haru, Horus, Isis, right? "Or of the strangers of Israel, or in Israel, as is written here, that will offer his oblation for all his vows," which is the promises, "and for all his free will offerings, which they will offer unto he exists for a burnt offering," verse 19, "ye shall offer at your own will," okay, your own will, "a male without blemish of the beeves, of the sheep," okay, which is the lamb, "or of the goats," all right, just like I said, without blemish. Verse 20, "But whatsoever hath a blemish, that shall ye not offer, for it shall not be accepted of you." Okay, so this is an ordinance of the Most High given to the children of Israel. All right, so what he's saying here is that when you're offering to the Most High, and you have a blemish in your offerings, then he's not going to accept it, right? So, just to use your noggin just for 1 minute here, right? So for all of you so-called religious churchgoers, you so-called Christians who like to run around saying, "Oh, Christ is our Passover. We don't have to keep the Passover ordinance because that's according to the old law, the old covenant," right? But just like I said before, there's nowhere in Scripture that says that we're in the new covenant. It says we're in the New Testament because Christ was sent into the world as the second witness. But we're not in the new covenant. The new covenant is going to come after the second coming of Hamashiach, right? So for all of you so-called religious churchgoers who like to say that, Christ is the lamb, right? He's the sacrificial lamb. But right here, according to the law in the book of Leviticus 22, in which we will get into other laws too in Leviticus and Exodus, right? It says that your offering to the Most High, which is your promise and your vow, can't have a blemish, right? Now, this, like I said before, I'm not trying to be comical or funny, but when Hamashiach was led out to Gothica to be crucified on the crucifix, right? When he was led out by the ancient Greco-Romans and the wicked two-third Jews at that time, what were they doing to him? They was whipping him. They was beating him, okay? They was using derogatory terms towards him, disrespecting him, spitting on him, right? They beat him to a bloody pulp, okay? Right? So correct me if I'm wrong. I think that's a blemish, right? That's a physical blemish. Now, of course, we all know that he's the only begotten Son of the Most High, and in him was no sin, spiritual sin, okay? But when he was led out to be crucified by the ancient Greco-Romans and wicked Jews, right? They blemished him all over his body. He had a blemish, right? And then he was sacrificed by the wicked Jews on the crucifix to the Most High, right? But right here in the law, in Leviticus 22, the Most High said, if you have a blemish, that sacrifice ain't going to be accepted, right? So how can you say Christ is your Passover lamb, right? Just like I said earlier in the video, if you want to say that Christ is your Passover from sin to righteousness and you're following Christ, then yeah, if you're sincere. But if you're not sincere, then you're mocking the Most High and you're mocking Christ, because you're keeping 40 days of Lent. You're keeping 40 days of Ramadan in Islam, right? And then you're going to turn around and say, oh, it's a Good Friday because Christ gave up the ghost, right? And then on top of that, that's complete mockery of Christ, right? Because this, like I said before in previous videos, the reason why the sinners or the people of this world call it a Good Friday is because the judge, which is Christ of the world, has departed. He gave up his spirit to the Most High, right? So the sinners knew that they're not going to be judged anymore. They can do whatever the hell they want. They can live whatever they want. They can eat whatever they want. They can covet other men's wives, covet other things of their neighbors, right? They can hate on their neighbor. They can kill their neighbor. They can bamboozle their neighbor if they want to, right? This is concerning the wicked Israelites too, right? So that's the reason why they call it Good Friday, right? And then they create that symbol, which is the peace symbol, so to speak, right? And then they turn it upside down, right? That's a complete mockery of Hamashiach. That's a broken cross, man, right? That's not a so-called peace symbol, living peacefully, living righteously, right? This is living in peace as far as doing what you want to do in sin, man, right? So a lot of our people have to do their due diligence and search these things out and see what they're celebrating, see what they're supporting, okay? The doctrine that they're spreading amongst their own people, keeping us all in sin, right? So this, like I said, if the law tells us from the Most High himself that your offering can't be without blemish, then what about Hamashiach? Now, approximately when he gave up the ghost, wasn't he around 33 years old? Okay, so right here in the law, it says your sacrifice of your lamb can't be no more than a year old, okay, without the blemish. All right, that's just putting one and one together, using your noggin, man, not trying to be funny or anything like that. So how can you say Christ is your sacrifice and he was way older than 1 year old, right? He went to celebrate the Passover when he was 12, okay, in the gospel. All right, so I'm just saying, so you can't go around saying that Christ is your Passover. He's your sacrificial lamb. But according to the law from the Most High himself, your sacrifice can't be no more than a year old without blemish. All right? So that's all I'm saying. Just think about that, right? Before you go around saying, oh, Christ is our Passover, right? So in continuation, verse 21. And whatsoever offereth a sacrifice of peace offerings unto the Most High Power, he exists to accomplish his vow, or a free will offering in beeves or sheep, it shall be perfect to be accepted. There shall be no blemish therein. And okay, so even with that, with your peace offerings and your free will offerings, you still can't have a blemish in your lamb offering. Okay, let's go to verse 25, and it read, neither from a stranger's hand shall ye offer the bread of your power of any of these. All right, so right here, the Most High is saying, even if you're in the stranger's land, all right, or if you're in the stranger's hand, he's giving you these things, right? Now, when he speaks of the people concerning strangers, he's talking about the other nations in this sense, right? Because their corruption is in them, and their blemishes be in them. They shall not be accepted of you, man, in which it says here in verse 25, right? So, like I was saying, in this sense right here, now, as I've said in previous videos, the Most High, He understands your effort, man. He understands what condition you're in, right? A lot of us don't have our own farms. A lot of us are not raising our own livestock to do these things, to sacrifice properly onto the Most High. A goat within the first year without blemish, a sheep within the first year without blemish, a bullock or whatever. But the Most High sees your effort, man, right? So if you truly call yourself trying to serve the Most High, right? If you have to go to your local market, or if you have to go to a place that raise their own poultry, that slaughter their animals, then if you got it like that, if you got money to spend like that, make a special request. Tell the butcher to say, hey, you know, I would like a lamb within the first year without blemish, or I would like a goat within the first year without blemish, or a bullock, a young bullock if they have it, some veal or whatever, right? That's what they call it, the young bullock meat today, veal. So if you're able to do that, then do that. But the Most High knows most of our condition here, man. We're in captivity, man. We're at the bottom of the totem pole, the bottom of society. We're the oppressed, the first fired and the last hired, man. So the Most High knows we don't have it like that, but He sees the effort. He sees that you're trying to serve Him in all sincerity and truth, man. Right? So if you have to go to your local supermarket and pick up some lamb or a bullock with blemish, the Most High understands, because just like He says in the book of Ezekiel, the 4th chapter, I believe, we're going to eat our meat, our bread defiled amongst the Gentiles, just as it says right here in Leviticus, the 22nd chapter, right? Their corruption be on them, right? This is the reason why our people have to be careful with where we eat, right? A lot of our people, even in the faith, man, which is totally mind-boggling to me, right? A lot of them, they still go to restaurants, man. A lot of them still go to restaurants. They still go to fast food joints, man, buying all of this junk, man. This defiled junk, right? Cheeseburgers, hamburgers, pizzas, and all that stuff, right? If you was pretty handy in the kitchen, you could make all of this stuff yourself, and you could make it better, and it could be clean because you know what you're doing, man. You know that you washed your own meat before you prepared it and cooked it, man, right? Instead of adding all of these other abominations to it, man, right? When you go to these places, man, they don't care about your health. They don't care about if you're eating it biblically clean. It's all about this. They're trying to get the money, so they don't care about that. They don't care about giving the Most High certain meats without blemish, right? They don't care about eating biblically clean meats, right? A lot of this stuff out here have pork byproducts. They have shellfish byproducts in them, man, right? They have cochineal bugs in there, right, in their juices, right? So a lot of our people have to do their due diligence and search these things out and see where they're eating at, man, right? They got to see what kind of products they're buying. They got to know code words, the definition of words, man, that be in these ingredients, hitting abominable ingredients, man, right? So we're eating our food defiled amongst the Gentiles, but you really don't have to do so if you do your due diligence, man, right? But unfortunately, a lot of our people just don't care. Just like I was having a conversation with a brother the other day, I was speaking about honey, right? Now, I do know in the scriptures it says, eating honey and stuff like that, or we should eat the honey, it's sweet to us, or enjoy honey, like in the book of Proverbs, the 28th and 29th chapter. But a lot of brothers and sisters have to know that that was actually speaking in a symbolic, metaphorical sense, right? It didn't literally mean eat the honey, right? The honey is the wisdom, the knowledge is sweet to us as honey, right? So that's what the Most High was speaking about, man. And when he says it in the book of Deuteronomy and Exodus, how he's going to have us dwell in a land of milk and honey, he didn't literally mean milk and honey. What he mean was a land that's full of abundance, man, natural resources, man, right? A land that's going to be very prosperous in the natural things that we need, not literal milk and honey, right? And I was having a conversation with a brother the other day. I was saying, well, if we want to call ourselves eating a biblically clean diet, right? So there are certain things that we can eat, certain things that we can't eat. Now, in the scripture, I haven't seen anything that said, maybe someone else had, but I haven't. I haven't seen it. But if the honeybee or the bumblebee is considered an unclean insect, and they're the insects that provide or produce honey, right, from the pollen of the flower or whatever. So why are we eating honey? Like, if we want to really be serious about keeping this biblical dietary law, right? Why are we eating honey? Right now, as most people know, a lot of our people are naturally allergic to honey. Even me, I'm allergic to honey. I can't eat honey, right? Really don't know why, but now spiritually I know, because it's produced by an unclean insect, which is a bee, right? But a lot of people within our nation aren't allergic to honey. But if they call themselves serving the Most High and keeping the law, statutes, commandments, and keeping the dietary law, why are they eating honey? Right? Why can't they substitute that with maple syrup, in which the Most High made the waters sweet with the sap of the tree, right? The fluid of the tree, right? Not from some honeybee, okay? That's considered an unclean animal, right? So that's something to think about there, man. And I was having a conversation with a brother, and that kind of boggled him. He was like, you're right. That makes a lot of sense. If we supposed to be eating biblically clean, then why are we eating a product that's produced from an unclean insect, right? Just as the cochineal bug, right, in which they put the blood of that in juices to give it a certain color, right? So that's something for a lot of you brothers and sisters out there to ponder, man, right? You got to reconsider eating honey, right? You can substitute that with agave or maple syrup, 100% pure maple syrup, not that GMO stuff, right? Because once again, we are eating our bread defiled amongst the Gentiles, right? So that's something to okay. So this, like I was saying, the Most High, he sees the effort. He sees that you're trying to serve him. So if you have to go to your local market to get some meat that have blemish, it's more than a year old or whatever, he sees the effort that you're trying to keep his laws, statutes, and commandments and ordinances, man, right? So, he's going to commend that, right? But at the same time, too, the Most High does as he will. So he knows your heart. I'm not the judge. The Most High got to judge that, right? So if you're sincere, then, he's going to judge you according to that, accordingly, right? So back to the book of Leviticus. Verse 25. Neither from a stranger's hand shall ye offer the bread of your power of any of these, because their corruption is in them, and the blemishes be in them. They shall not be accepted of you, man, right? Let's go to chapter 23, still in the book of Leviticus. Let's see if I can press it right here. Hopefully that y'all can hear me. Okay, so once again, we're in the book of Leviticus, chapter 23. And I'm going to start at verse 1, and it read, And he exists, spake unto Moshe, saying, Speak unto the children of who? Of Israel, which is the so-called Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, and Seminole Indians of Negroid descent, right? And say unto them concerning the feast of the Most High Power, all caps, right? Which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations. Even these are my feasts. Okay. Not so called 40 days of Lent, not 40 days of Ramadan in Islam, which is a spinoff by Roman Catholicism anyway. That's why you have Lent and Ramadan running hand to hand, right? 6 days shall work be done, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of rest, which is Sabbath, right? That means rest. And holy convocation, ye shall do no work therein. It is the Sabbath of the Most High Power in all your dwellings, man, right? So right here, concerning the Sabbath of rest, right? Oh, what's up, bro? How you doing, man? What's up, Cole? All right. So concerning the Sabbath of rest, right? And also this is concerning the high holy days, right? So if you want to say that you're truly serving the Most High, right? You truly serving the Most High. You keeping all of the high holy days holy, set apart, right? You're truly serving Him. You're not going to bend while you're serving Him, right? So why you going around telling people that, if you're in captivity, we can't keep the Sabbath, right? If your boss tells you that you have to come in for the Sabbath, right? Or you have to come in for the Passover, which is tonight, by the way, right? Oh, you got to follow what your boss told you to do because, it's our life source and we got to do what we got to do. We're in captivity. We can't keep those days off, right? Then you're truly not serving the Most High. What you're doing is conditionally serving the Most High, man. And then on top of that, to make it worse, you're telling people in your congregation or people that you know who's in the faith that we can defile the Sabbath and work, or that we can defile the Most High's high holy days and work. This because the boss said so. Now I want you to think about something. Just like the Most High told Moses in Exodus, right? And this like how the Most High hardened the heart of the Pharaoh. Okay? He wanted to work with Moses to see how much faith Moses had in him, that the Most High was going to do what he said, right? But he still hardened the heart of the Pharaoh to go against the children of Israel and keep them in more hard bondage, right? So what makes you think that the Most High isn't doing the same thing to your so-called boss or supervisor, right? Now think about this. If the Most High controls all things, right? He created all things, right? He created all spirits, right? Now, aren't we all governed by spirits? Don't we all have a spirit? All people, all humans, which is us, all mankind, which is like humans, okay? You have your animals, you have your trees, you have your sea animals, your sea creatures, right? Even the bugs, even the insects, the fowls of the air, right? Everything have a spirit, right? That's controlled by the Most High. So can't the Most High do as He please with all of these spirits, right? Now, unfortunately, a lot of brethren and sisters in the faith, they think that the oppressor is doing everything according to their own will, right? Their own might, their own spirit. But the Most High controls all things, man, just like He did the ancient pharaohs and the ancient Egyptians back in the day, right? So what makes you think that He's not controlling your boss, telling you just to test you, just to see if you're going to bend or not, to tell you that you have to work during the Sabbath and work during the Passover? Oh no, you can't keep the Passover and Sabbath. You can't take those days off. We need you. You have to come into work, you know. So what you going to do? You're going to say, oh, well, we're in captivity. We're in captivity. We got to go to work, so we can't keep the Sabbath. We can't keep the Passover. You're bending, right? You're not truly serving the Most High, man, as you claim. But you want to go around and judge the so-called 2/3 of our nation, telling them that they need to repent and keep the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, but you ain't staying strong for the Most High. You bending from your oppressor for the Most High, man. You conditionally serving the Most High, right? So how you going to completely serve the Most High if you can't even tell your boss, no, I'm not coming in this day. I got to take this day off. It's very important to me. And even if it's your boss' business to know, or your supervisor, whatever, If you're employed, you could tell them, hey, this is a very important day to me concerning my faith, and I have to take this day off. I must take this day off. I can't come into work because this is a rest day. Okay, but I'll be in the next day. You know, if it's the Passover, which is tonight, tomorrow is Thursday. You can't work Thursday, but you'll be in Friday, right? Of course, Saturday, which is the seventh day, right, of the week of the Gregorian calendar, that's the Sabbath day. You have to take that day off again. You can't work according to the Most High's rules and regulations, man, which is his laws, statutes, and commandments, right? So, who are you truly serving? You can't go around saying that you a child of the Most High, a soldier for the Most High, and you serving him and keep the commandments, but you're unwilling to tell your so-called boss that you must take this day off. It's important to me, right? And the Most High is testing your boss. He's testing you. He's put that spirit in your supervisor to harden his heart to tell you that you have to come in for the Passover and Sabbath. Just to see what you're going to do. Just to see if you're going to bend. And just like the devil thought, you bend. You cave in. You folded, man. And you told your boss that you would be in, and you told your other brethren, oh, well, we're in captivity, so if we got to go into work, we got to go into work. It's nothing we can do, right? And it's a shame, man, because it's all a test from the Most High, in him or not. And you folded, man. You fell big time, right? So you can't judge anyone else and say that they're not keeping the laws and you're not staying strong for the Most High, man. You got to be a perfect example, man, right? As a matter of fact, I say that to say this. This sort of remind me of a thing that I heard from another brother in the faith. I ain't gonna say his name, for personal purposes or privacy purposes. But he should know who I'm talking about when I say this. But ever since he said this, and this was a while ago since I've heard him say it, but he should know that I'm referring to him when I mention it. But I've seen a video one time when he said he's been homeless, man. He said he was homeless and lost jobs because he decided to keep the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High sincerely with all truth, man. Right? He said he lost jobs for keeping the Sabbath, man. Right? Lost jobs for keeping the high holy days because they wanted him to come in, and he told his bosses, no, I'm not coming in, right? This is a very important time of the year for me, and I'm taking this time off. I don't care if you need me or not, right? Lost jobs because of it, right? And when I heard that, I said to myself, I said, you know what? I respect that man, right? He said he's serving the Most High, keeping the law, statutes, commandments, and he's sincere with doing it, right? So if you see this video, you know that I'm talking about you, man, right? You got respect for me, right? That was a real nice thing, man. That was a good thing right there. That was a real strong thing in the Most High that you did, man, and you earned my respect for that, man, right? But you got a lot of brothers and sisters in this faith, man. They take their jobs or their sources of income as their lifelines, man. The Most High is supposed to be a lifeline, man. Following Christ supposed to be a lifeline, man. Not freaking your job or whatever. Working for your oppressive boss, right? Who you skating on thin ice for anyway? He can fire you whenever he want, right? And this is the way the Most High have it set up for us in this society, man. We're the first hired, the last fired, man. The last considered to be employed, man, right? We bit the bullet, right? Unless we sold out, we copped out, we're worshiping their gods, keeping their customs, right? Pushing their vain, false philosophies and dogmas, right? Other than that, you're not succeeding in the society. Now, don't get me wrong. I do think and know that the Most High will bless you even over the sinner if you're sincerely keeping his ways, man, right? But you're going to have to go through some things first, right? Just like the old song goes, right? No pain, no gain, okay? In order to get something, you got to give something. In order to be something, you got to go through something, right? Right? All of the old heads, they know what song that is, right? That's straight classic right there. But that's what you got to do for the Most High, man. And please believe when the Most High, when he is on you, it's going to be something out of this world, man. The people, they're not even going to know where that came from. It's going to be like it's from left field somewhere, right? But this is what you got to go through when you're serving the Most High. Now, Satan or the devil, they can reward you too. You know what I'm saying? And which our people have misconstrued and they think that's blessings, but you can get rewarded for doing the devil's work too, man. Unfortunately, this is what a lot of our people are doing. So it may seem as they're blessed, but spiritually they destroyed, man. Mentally they destroyed, they beat down. Physically they worn out, right? Because they doing the works of the devil, man. Right? And then on top of that, you're going to be destroyed at the second coming of Christ, because the Most High is going to judge you for that, right? So this is what's going on, man, unfortunately, with our people. But our people are so far gone off into these materialistic things and vanity and vain philosophy that they think that gainliness is worldliness, just as Paul said, man. But it's not. You know, godliness, serving the Most High, keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, man. Keeping the Passover tonight, keeping the Sabbath day holy, man, right? Instructing your people in righteousness, as I'm doing right now, making this video, right? Or if you're with a camp on the street doing the same thing, man. This is godliness, man. This is how you gain your blessings, man, right? So back we was discussing here in the book of Leviticus. Verse 4 again from the top. These are the feast of he exists, even holy convocations, which ye shall proclaim in their seasons. Okay. Verse 5. And the 14th day of the first month, which is Abai, tonight at evening, which is sundown, is the Lord's Passover. Okay. Verse 6. And on the 15th day, which is the very next day, right, of the same month, Abai, is the feast of unleavened bread, unto the Most High power. 7 days ye must, right? It didn't say 7 days ye could if you want to. Or, oh, well, you know, I'm going to keep Good Friday and Easter Sunday, you know. It says right here, 7 days ye must eat unleavened bread, right? Verse 7. In the first day ye shall have an holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work. Okay, no servile work. What's the servile work? Working for your so-called boss or supervisor, right? When you're employed. Okay, working for hire, working for pay. All right, you can't be doing that. All right. Verse 8. But ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Most High power 7 days. All right, which is the unleavened bread, right? And the seventh day is an holy convocation, which is the ending of the unleavened bread. Ye shall do no servile work therein, which is another Sabbath, meaning no work for hire. All right, so these are commandments of the Most High that we're supposed to be doing, man. Right? We're not supposed to be out here working, right, for hire, or telling our brethren and sister, oh, well, we're in captivity, so, you know, we got to do what we got to do. We got to work. If they say we got to come in for the Sabbath, we got to do it. We're in captivity, right? But these are commandments by the Most High that we must keep, man, right? If you want to say that you're sincere in keeping the law, statutes, commandments of the Most High, man, right? So in continuation, verse 9. And he exists, spake unto Moshe, saying, verse 10, speak unto the children of Yasharal, which is Israel, which is the so-called Negro, Hispanic, Native American, and Seminole Indian of Negroid descent, right? And say unto them, right? Not the whole entire world, right? When ye be come into the land, right? Now you see that? Now you can tell this is our book, man. This is our dialect with some of our people, man, right? You can't tell me that some of our people don't be speaking like this, man, right? Especially like the old Seminoles in the South, man. The so-called Geechee, right? When ye be come into the land which I gave unto you, and shall reap the harvest thereof, then ye shall bring a sheaf of the first fruits of your harvest onto the priest, which is the leaf, right, of the first fruits. Verse 11. And he shall wave the sheaf before the Most High Power to be accepted for you. On the morrow after the Sabbath, the priest shall wave it. All right. So that's going to be the 49 days after. Honeybee flying around here. Salakia had to wave it off. Right. So that's going to be like the 49 to 50 days after the unleavened bread. Right. That's your feast of first fruits. Verse 12. And ye shall offer that day when ye wave the sheaf of the lamb, the he lamb, without blemish of the first year for a burnt offering unto the Most High Power. So once again, right here, you got to offer that lamb without blemish, right? So it's impossible to say that Hamashiach was your sacrificial lamb and that we don't have to keep these ordinances anymore because Christ is the sacrificial lamb. But here in the law from the Most High himself, even according to the gospel, Christ himself didn't say that he is the sacrificial lamb and he came to do away with all of the ordinances of the Most High, man, right? Because your lamb have to be without blemish and of the first year, all right? Christ physically was none of those, right? But spiritually, he was the only begotten Son of the Most High, right? Verse 13. And the meat offering thereof shall be 2 tenths dill of fine flour mingled with oil, an offering made by fire unto he exists for a sweet savior, and the drink offering thereof shall be of wine, the 4th part of an hin. All right, so right here, this is the true time that you're supposed to be having the wine. Now, I do know a lot of brothers and sisters, you know what I'm saying? A lot of brothers and sisters of the faith or whatever, they like have wine or whatever, have a little drink for Passover and stuff like that, the Holy Convocation, the first and the seventh day. But really, you're supposed to be having it for the Feast of First Fruits, man, right? When you're harvesting the grapes from the vine, right? All of the other fruits and vegetables from the trees and stuff like that, man, right? During the Passover, we had to eat the food in haste. We had to eat the lamb in haste without season. We had to eat the bread unleavened, right? Because the Lord was passing over us, man, with his judgment angel to see if we're truly serving the Most High as we should, right? So we didn't really have wine, but if you want to have the wine during that time because you're in a holy convocation, you got a camp or whatever, you got your little gathering going on, you can do that. You can have your little wine, not to get drunk though, right? But, in moderation. But really, we're supposed to be having the wine for the Feast of First Fruits, as it's written here in the book of Leviticus, chapter 23, right? But, just to throw that in there. So, but, a lot of people, they think that the wine is officially for the Passover, but, it's the first fruits, man, right? But it ain't nothing wrong with it. If you're doing it in moderation, you know what I'm saying? Of course, we had to have something to eat with the meal for the Passover during that night when we were in our chambers, so it could be wine too. It could be grape juice or whatever, for the kids. You get them some nice, fresh juice or whatever, nothing with cochineal bug in there or any other sort of dyes or, FD and C food colorings and all of that stuff, man. Some natural juice, man, right? Orange juice, apple juice or whatever. The good brands, right? Not the defiled brands, right? Or even water if you want to, right? So that's what the wine was originally for, man, right? For the Feast of First Fruits. So back into it right here. Verse 14. And ye shall neither bread, Salakia, and ye shall eat neither bread, nor parched corn, nor green ears, until the self same day that ye have brought an offering unto your power. It shall be a statute forever, what? Throughout your generations and all your dwellings, right? So that also goes for you so-called religious churchgoers who like to say that, we're in for everlasting grace. We don't have to keep the old covenant no more. That's the old covenant, the old ways, the old laws. We don't have to do those things no more. Now, mind you, just like I've always said, there's nowhere in the scripture that says that we're under the new covenant. We're under the New Testament. It says New Testament, not New Covenant. There's a significant difference, man. You got to look up the definition of those two words, man. We're not under the New Covenant, meaning that we're still under the Old Covenant, man. Right? So, if this a commandment and a statute and an ordinance that's given from the Most High Himself throughout all our dwelling places, throughout all of our generations forever, then how are you going around talking about Christ done away with the old laws? We're under the new covenant now. You don't have to keep Passover. We don't have to keep the Sabbath. We don't have to keep the dietary law. Well, that means that you can also break all of the other laws too, right? Because the Passover and the unleavened bread is one of the most important high holy days of the Most High. So if you want to break that commandment, then you got to break all of the other commandments, right? And what you already do, you're already breaking the first commandment, which is thou shalt not have any other gods before me, right? And then you have thou shalt not make any graven images. You already breaking those two commandments already, man, right? You're not keeping the Sabbath day. You're not keeping the Lord's name out of vanity, right? So you're breaking all of those. So you might as well just go ahead and disrespect your mom and your dad, kill people, steal from people, covet your next door neighbor's wife, cars, money, clothes. You might as well do all of that. You might as well just break all of the commandments, right? If you want to say that we're not under the old covenant no more, right? So this is the false doctrine and philosophy and dogma, unfortunately, that so-called two-thirds of our people, the willful sinners of Israel, which is the so-called Negro, Hispanics, Native Americans, the Seminole Indians of Negroid descent, this is what they are still doing and following, man. And not only that, they're pushing that doctrine to other people, keep in sin. All right? And this is how you get judged in the Most High, man. Right? This, as it says in the book of Revelation, I believe it's the 21st chapter or the 22nd. Those who make a lie and are lovers of lies, they're not going to make the kingdom. All right? So if you're going around talking about Christ as your Passover, and we're not in the old covenant, we don't have to keep the old ways, then the Most High is going to judge you, man. And then your ass going to be right back here, right back in captivity after the night, man. Right? So this stuff right here is serious, man. The other nations, they may not think so, but that's because the Most High isn't their God. The Most High is our God. These ordinances was given to us to keep annually as a nation of people, man. Right? That's why it says this here in continuation, verse 14 from the middle. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations and all your dwellings, right? No matter where you're at in the world, all four corners of the world, captivity and servitude or not, you're supposed to be keeping these ordinances, man, which is the Passover, unleavened bread, and feast of first fruits, man, right? Not Easter, okay? Not Good Friday, so to speak, right? Not 40 days of Lent, 40 days of Ramadan, right? All of those grievous days to keep, man, right? The Most High only gave us 7 days, man, and 1 day for the Day of Atonement by the Feast of Tabernacle, all right? Let's go to the book of Isaiah, chapter 45.